What's going on, you guys? Ghost here talking playoffs. Big series. Big series against the Tigers. Another team that third consecutive postseason for the A's. Just, '06 last year and then now this year against the Tigers. It's going to be nerve-wracking. Sure, any team you play in the playoffs is going to be nerve-wracking. It doesn't matter whether it's the wild card team or the top team. I mean, every series is going to be crazy, and of course this is a short series of 5 games. So the A's settled their postseason roster. They're playing the Tigers, as I said before. Scherzer, Verlander, Fister, Anibal Sanchez. It's going to be interesting. First of all, the Tigers pitching, yeah, I know they all have the stars. I know what Verlander can do. He's not having the best year, but the crazy and scary thing about this Tigers team is that they can flip it with a switch, and they can turn it on because they have the loaded lineup. Everyone in that lineup, from Prince Fielder, who's not having the greatest of years, but still doing all right, to MVP candidate Miguel Cabrera, obviously, and then Johnny Peralta comes back from a suspension. Anyone can just turn it on with a flip of the switch. This lineup is loaded from top to bottom. Even with Iglesias, I believe, added to from the deadline. It's going to be a very, very tough draw. But every team in the playoffs is going to be a tough draw. The lineup is going to be tough. We handled Miguel Cabrera pretty well last postseason, but it's a new year, new challenges. The big thing this year is Max Scherzer. After being a top 10 pitcher last year, he is now arguably the best pitcher and Cy Young candidate based on stats this year. However, he's not invincible. I know this A's team can hit on him. He's not invincible, as everyone wants to make him out to be. Wins. I'm not saying wins is a horrible stat, but it's the one that's a little bit overrated just because he has 20 wins. I know that he should have had at least another loss if it weren't for Grant Balfour screwing it up. But yeah, first face Scherzer game 1, Verlander game 2. I'm still more worried about Verlander. That's the guy in game 2 where it's more nervous, just because we know what he's done historically. We beat him in one game, I believe that was the rain-shortened game earlier in August. Finally, that monkey's off our back, but they could turn it on with the switch. Still nervous. But going in, the rest of this rotation, I like how the A's set up the rotation for the most part. You got Bartolo Colon in game 1. That's the right choice. Sonny Gray in game 2. See, since the A's clinched home field advantage, it's probably best to play Gray in game 2 because I know he benefits from the Coliseum more than on the road, putting a rookie in under pressure. Gray's been pretty good in this time. There's a couple pitchers here that just benefit from the Coliseum, and Gray is one of them. Third, you got Jared Parker. I trust him a lot more on the road than Sonny Gray. Then there's Dan Straley, the wild card at Game 4. This is where it gets very nervous. A.J. Griffin's out with elbow tendonitis. He's not on the roster, so the decision was easy for Straley. He's been playing well as of late, but the thing that's scary is any time it feels like he could be a bullpen, just warm-up pitcher and get blasted. But hopefully you don't see a Game 4 come down to him, because it just shows, hey, we got to win the first 3 games, or at least win most of those first 3 games possible. So Dan Straley, that's where Game 4 is a little nervous. I believe we can hit on Sanchez, Fister, and Scherzer. Even though Scherzer is considered the best pitcher right now on the Tigers, he's not invincible. The A's team's bats need to come through. And I know people have gotten mad at me when this team hits home runs. I mean, the A's are one of the top teams in home runs this year. But that means their swinging tendencies are a little more power-minded. And even when there's guys on second, they're trying to swing for the fences unnecessarily. Got to learn the situational hitting, and I'm going to be paying attention to runs with runners in scoring position hits. Those are the hits I want to see. Whether it's back-breaking 2-out hits with runners in scoring position, I want to see those. If the A's can do a lot more of those, they can win this series. Real interesting lineup choices, of course, Derek Barton, guy who's come on as of late after an injury. I believe his player out, and Derek Barton had to come in. Gets interesting. I'm okay with Yoenis Cespedes being the DH. I don't want him to get hurt in the outfield, so him as the DH is fine. Brandon Moss in left field, Coco in center. Presumably you would say Reddick and right. Reddick's bat, though, however, has been hard to watch for the last year and a half. hopefully he can turn it up when it matters. On the infield, you got Sogard, you got Kayaspo, Jed Lowry. You would expect Sogard and Lowry to be the main middle of the infield. Donaldson's been a great MVP player for us, but this is really a team thing with the A's. You don't see one guy dominate the stat sheet, even though Donaldson might be a borderline MVP candidate in the voting. Coco Crisp, I feel the A's will go as far as Coco Crisp can take him. If he's on, so is the rest of the team. So yeah, Derek Barton at first base. Never thought I'd be saying that. I thought he was going to be gone back in April, but he's come on as of late, the last month or so, and maybe that sent down to AAA was good for him. It probably really was. But yeah, Donaldson at third base should be fine. Catcher position is where it gets very interesting. You got Kurt Suzuki, who we picked up, reacquired at the deadline, third catcher. Vote Norris. I expect Derek Norris to be the pinch hitter at times, but he's not going to be starting because we've been platooning and Detroit has all right-handers in their rotation. So, with the exception of Smiley and maybe one or two other guys that are lefties, you'll see mostly left-handers batting, and I like our lineup when they counter a right-handed pitcher. Stephen Vogt's been pretty good. I trust Stephen Vogt a lot more at the plate than Derek Norris in terms of catching, so maybe Norris comes in as a pinch hitter and then Suzuki subs late. Maybe that's how they'll do it, I'm not sure. In terms of the bullpen, we do not have Tommy Malone. Obviously, no more A.J. Griffin. Oh, Brett Anderson is in the bullpen, and the bullpen is the part where this will be a little bit scary. I mean, seeing the entire Detroit lineup is scary in itself, but the only guy that's been consistent in this month of the last month of September was Sean Doolittle. That's the only guy who picked it up after having up and down middle of the season. He had his moments, but he did well in September, and I think without him, the A's don't win the division as early as they did. Belfour has been always allowing a base runner on in a safe situation. He's had some heart attack type of games, but he's come through more times than not, only 3 blown saves, so I trust the ninth. It's just that 7th, 8th inning where it gets a little nerve-wracking because Ryan Cook is off. He's not playing well. I trust Dan Ortero right now in terms of setup people with Doolittle. Doolittle being the lefty, Ortero being the righty. And then you got your, I guess, matchup guys like Jerry Blevins, who is like the strikeout pitcher for one batter who's left-handed potentially. But I don't want to see Jesse Chavez in. That means we're losing. That means our game is over, or we're going to deep extra innings. So hopefully we don't see Jesse Chavez or Brett Anderson, but we might have to here and there. Those are the 2 guys you don't want to see. But the A's, the batting's got to come through. I mean, the keys to baseball are pretty straight to the point. Location, timely hitting, so and so and so and so. The A's just have lived and died by the bomb in the last year or so. But this time, the hitting's gotten a little bit better. And thanks to Josh Donaldson hitting for average. And then we're even seeing Jed Lowry, the biggest acquisition we made in the offseason. Jed Lowry has hit for average and helped just get simple hits with runners in scoring position. He's been a doubles machine. So if we could get more guys that hit gappers and get singles with runners in scoring position, I'd be fine. It's better than getting a solo home run unless it's late in the game or in walk-off fashion. But sometimes this team, it's like everyone's trying to be the hero. They all want to hit the bomb. They're all swinging for the bomb, sometimes at the wrong time. So we'll see what happens. I really think the A's can win this series, even though there's the tough lineup of Detroit. I know they got no hit in their last game, but I'm not putting any stock into that. They were playing some scrubs. They can turn it on with a flip of a switch. So you got to attack, you got to score early, you got to score often, and you got to finish. It's pretty simple. Let me know what you got to think of this series, and we'll see you guys later. Let's go Oakland.